Today we're going to talk about section 1.5, distributing and combining like terms. And since you did learn most of this in junior high, we're going to focus mostly on distributing fractions, since that's one of our biggest challenges, distributing fractions. So let's start by filling in some terms on our Cornell note sheet. Distributive property. Instead of defining it with words, I'm just going to show you an example. If we have A outside the parentheses and B plus C on the inside, we can go ahead and pass out the A to the B and C. Now, distributive property is a form of multiplication. So we're multiplying, so we would get, let's erase that, A times B plus A times C. Now, you can also distribute from behind the parentheses. Anything that is, as I say, kissing the parentheses will get multiplied or distributed to what's inside the parentheses if we can't simplify this. So if there were A on the back end, we distribute to the left side first. We get AB plus AC. So we'll get the same answer whether the A is in the front of the parentheses or the A is in the back of the parentheses. We'll do some more examples with this later, where you are distributing, but let me give you a basic example. If you're distributing negative 2 times 4 plus x, negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, and negative 2 times x is negative 2x. So you have to watch your signs as you distribute as well. A term. A term is a number, a variable, or a combo of numbers and variables. So 5 could be a term, A could be a term, 5A could be a term, or 5A squared could be a term. The key with terms is that they are separated by addition and subtraction. So if you had 2 plus 3x plus y, that would be 1 term, 2 terms, 3 terms, 3 terms. Okay? Now, when you're combining like terms, you have to only combine terms that have exactly the same variable parts. Have to be exactly the same. So if I have 3a squared minus 5a squared plus 2a, I can only combine this 3a squared with this negative 5a squared because they're both a squareds. So then we know that we have an a squared. That won't change, but 3 minus 5 means negative 2. You just actually do the addition or subtraction with the coefficients, the numbers in the front. This guy is just a plain old A, so he's a loner. We just bring him down. Okay? So that's combining like terms. Equivalent expressions. That would be two expressions that have the same value. So if we have the expression 5n plus 7n, we can combine like terms to get 12n, and this is equivalent to this, just simplified. Okay? And that brings us to simplify. If we want to simplify something, we want to, there are different things that we'll do to simplify, but we want to get it down to its smallest form, simplify it as much as we can. So that means different things for different problems. If I'm given a fraction, 12 over 24, and we have to simplify it, you simplify it to 1/2. If you want to simplify equivalent expressions, that means it might be combining like terms. But we want to combine anything we can possibly combine so that we have the smallest answer possible in the end. We can distribute and combine like terms, and that would say simplifying as well. So if I had 2 times the quantity x plus 4 minus 6 times x minus 2. We could distribute to get 2x plus 8. Now distribute the negative 6 minus 6x plus 12, because you're doing negative 6 times negative 12. Now combine your like terms. 2x minus 6x is negative 4x. 8 plus 12 would give us 20. So simplifying can mean different things, but we want to get it simplified as small as possible with what we have. Finally, the coefficient is the numerical factor. And remember, we talked about factors. If we broke, just to review, if we broke 20 down, its factors would be 5 and 4. Now, if we have a term like 17xy, we can't break them down. We could break them down like this, but they won't look any different. And this is your coefficient. When you have a large number in front, that's called a coefficient, not to be confused with an exponent. Exponent is not a coefficient. So the large number, the coefficient always goes in the front, and then we follow it by the variables behind it. All right, so let's do some practice problems with distributing and combining like terms. We're going to also begin with our, so you can write 1.5, distributing and combining like terms. Okay. We will go straight into the problems. I'll do one without variables, and then we'll get into, one without fractions, then we'll get into ones with fractions. So let's start with 2 minus 4 times the quantity 2x plus 3. Okay, so we're distributing here, but we are also going to combine like terms, so we'll combine these two ideas together. We cannot do 2 minus 4 because the order of operations says we have to do all multiplication first. And distributing is a form of multiplication. So we're basically going to take this negative 4 and pass it out. Distribute, when you distribute papers, if somebody came to the door and they were distributing papers to everyone in the classroom, then they would give it to everyone in the classroom. And that's what we're doing here. We're taking this negative 4 and passing out to everyone in the classroom, which in this case is everything inside the parentheses. The 2 just follows along. We're passing out a negative 4 by multiplying. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. So we just distributed there. Distribute. Now we can combine any like terms. Now we've got an x here, and then we have these two whole numbers that don't have any variables. So we're going to combine the 2 and the negative 12, keeping in mind that you always use the sign in front of each term. So that's a negative 12. So 2 minus 12 gives us negative 10. And this 8x is not like those two, so we just bring it down. Now this is the same exact answer as negative 8x minus 10. Either one of these is proper. When we get later on in the year, we try to write the variables first in what's called descending order, but for now, either of these answers would be appropriate. So that would be distributing and combining like terms without fractions. Let's try some problems with fractions, because those will be the ones that we need the most review on and help with. So if we want to distribute a 1/2, then we pass that out again only to what's inside the class. So the 1/2 gets distributed to the 8x and the 4y. It will not get distributed to the 2y because it's not in the classroom. It's standing in the hallway. Okay? So 1/2 times 8, we're just multiplying. And when you're doing half of 8, that's easy to understand. 1/2 of 8 is 4x. 1/2 of 4 is 2y. So taking half of those, that's all we're doing there, plus the 2y that we bring down. Now we can combine like terms. So that was our second step over here. We're going to do the same thing here. So we distribute, and then CLT, combine like terms. So these two are the only two guys that are alike, positive 2y, which gives us 4y, and this 4x comes on down. So you don't need to rearrange the order at all. You can keep it in the order that it's in and just combine the y's. Let's try another. Number 3. 1/4 times 12a minus 16y minus 5a. Same idea as the one we just did. Now we want to take a fourth of 12. Now let me show you over here what we were thinking in our mind. 1/4 times 12 over 1. There are a couple ways you can do this. You can multiply straight across and get 12 over 4 and simplify that to 3. Or you could cross reduce. 4 goes into 12 3 times, and now 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 1 is 1, which is the same as 3. Now this is what we're doing in our mind. You can simplify this a little bit by putting the 12 over 1 and the 16 over 1, and then you can cross reduce in your mind or multiply in your mind. So we could say 4 goes into 12 3 times, which leaves us with 3a, but then you have to remember that you're doing the 4 into 16 this time, which leaves us 4, and nothing on the top or the bottom, so there'd be minus 4y, minus 5a. So 1/4 of 16 is the same as dividing by 4, or you can cross reduce, or you can multiply across the top and get 16, and multiply across the bottom and get 4, and simplify that to 4. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do that. I'll show you some more examples. Now the 3a and the negative 5a get combined again. Remember, we're using the sign in the front. So it's really 3a minus 5a, which gives you negative 2a. He's what I call large and in charge. Whoever's got the larger coefficient is the one that's in charge. And we're really subtracting these and keeping the sign of the larger number. And this guy just comes down. Let's try another one. I'll give you this problem. And if you want to work ahead, you can pause right now and try that one on your own. And when you're done, you can push the play button, of course, and watch the rest of it. Okay, so for those of you who need a little extra help here, 2/3 times 6, we're going to pass that out, 2/3 times 12. So here's what we're doing, 2/3 times 6 over 1. You can cross reduce if you'd like. 3 goes into 6 2 times and into itself once, so 2 times 2 is 4. Or, let me show you one other way, 2/3 times 6 over 1, you can multiply across the top and get 12, multiply across the bottom and get 3, and that still reduces to 4. So I find it helpful to put this over 1 and put this over 1. I would probably cross reduce. 3 goes into 6 2 times, 2 times 2 is 4x. 3 goes into 12 4 times, and 2 times 4 is 8. And bring down the minus 12. Now we can combine these whole numbers that don't have any variables on them. They are called constants. They never change no matter what, because they don't have a variable on the back that might be changing them. So we keep the 4x, and then 8 minus 12 gives us minus 4. Let's try another one. Again, if you want to pause and try this on your own before you begin, you can. Plus 1/2 of 2x plus 10b. Let's make it 2a plus 10b. This will be a challenge for us. Okay. Now most of you might start down at this end because taking half of something is easier. So let's try that first. Half of 2 is 1a. Half of 10 is 5b. We have a plus sign in there. Okay? Let's go here to the front. This is a little more challenging. Negative 3/4 times negative 8 and negative 3/4 times 4. Again, throw these over 1. 4 goes into 8 twice. Now we really have a negative 3 times a negative 2, which gives us positive 6a. And then we have to go back. 4 goes into 4 once. So we have a negative 3 times 1, which gives us negative 3, and 1 times 1, which gives us 1 on the bottom, so we can leave that off. So that gives us 6a minus 3b plus 1a plus 5b. Now combine the like terms. 6a plus 1a is 7a, and negative 3b plus 5b, we're really subtracting them, so 5 minus 3 is 2. And this guy is large and in charge, and he's positive. So we know the sign of that should be positive. So subtract them and keep the sign of the larger number. So distributing and combining like terms without fractions, and then challenging ourselves to do distributing and combining like terms with fractions.